Hi everyone, welcome to Outdoor Bound TV. I'm Kurt Walbeck. If you're a walleye fisherman like I am, then those first few warm days in the spring definitely get you thinking about fishing. And once you drive by the boat landing and it's free of ice, it's time to hook up the boat and go. Now in this week's show, we get a chance to fish with friend and guide Mike McCormick on the Mississippi River. The first trip is actually in the month of March. There's still snow on the ground, but these pre-spawn walleyes are starting to stage up below the dam in Red Wing, Minnesota. Then we make a return trip in the month of May. This time we change tactics and we're targeting some of those big post-spawn females on the north side of Lake Pepin. What have you got going on?
Well, we got the first one of the day.
Well, we're not even getting set up and all of a sudden I looked over and your rod is bent completely over.
First cast.
First cast. Love it. Feel like a pretty good fish?
He was hungry.
Oh yeah, that's a really good fish. Nice, Mike. Look at that. Mississippi River walleye. Fantastic. Unbelievable. Look at that.
There's a nice spring fish.
Yeah, probably 25, do you think?
Yeah, something like that.
That's incredible. Look at that. What a pretty fish.
We're just pitching plastics on a half-ounce jig here. Nice spring water tactic.
Look at that. Incredible. All right, we can get that girl back and see if we can get a few more of those,
Yeah.
huh? Hey, good morning, everyone. Well, we're here on the Mississippi River with our old buddy and guide, Mike McCormick from McCormick's River Guide Service. Now, today you can probably tell there's still white on the ground. Well, it's still spring. Right now we're in mid-March, but we're out here on the Mississippi River. Mike, tell us a little bit about what we're targeting today.
Today we're targeting the pre-spawn walleyes here on the pool floor on the Mississippi River. So we're going to be fishing the current edge on the side of the channel here, and hopefully the walleyes will start coming out to do their spawn in another month here. So these fish are getting staged up here, getting ready to get their spawn started.
So that's a lot of what we're going to see today is these pre-spawn fish that are just staging up for the spawn.
Yep,
Okay.
pre-spawn fish.
Now, the Mississippi River, anytime in, it seems like end of March or all through the month of April, you drive by any of the dams and it's loaded with boats, what they call bumper boats here in the Mississippi. Now, there's not a single boat around us today. Why is that?
The weather's not the best today, I guess, for everybody to come out. So I don't know. It's it was way nicer today than it has been. So I don't know why there's nobody out here, but we'll take it.
It's still ice fishing season for most of us here in the Midwest. We're lucky enough to take a break and hop in the river with Mike. So let's see if we can find some of these Mississippi River walleye.
Sit right at the bottom of the boat. This one I'll probably need the net for.
Another pretty good fish there, huh? Oh, yeah. Monster. Mike, I will be your net man anytime. Another great walleye. Look at that.
Yeah.
Beautiful fish. Now, I notice in this early spring time frame, the colors are not very vivid. They're really washed out. Why is that? Any idea?
They just haven't seen the sunlight, I think, lately. And then, they've been down deep,
Sure.
There's just not a lot of sunlight.
Yep.
That's our problem right now.
Huh. Yeah, because someday you get in the summer, they get so vivid and
Yeah.
beautiful gold color, and right now they're just kind of not much color to them. They look like they've been sitting on the ice for a couple weeks.
They haven't seen the sun, so just like anybody else that hasn't seen the sun.
That's right. Need a tan. Nice fish. Right under the boat here. I was just getting ready to reel up and decided to hit it. Thank you, Mike. Get him untangled out of there. Perfect. Now I'm using that little different setup than Mike is. We thought we'd try a few different things to see what they like the best. Mike's got that 1/2 ounce orange jig on with just a white paddle tail. I'll get this guy unhooked and I'll show you a little bit about what my setup is. I went something with a little bit different than Mike. I went with kind of a chartreuse kind of white sleek jig. It's a VMC sleek jig, 3/8 ounce, a little bit lighter. We don't have quite as much current where I'm fishing, so I went with a little bit lighter jig. And I've got just a Kalen's paddle tail on, and just kind of moving it along the bottom real slow. Now you got to remember, in late winter, early spring like this, the water temperatures are very, very cold. So you don't want to do the typical big hop and pause like we would for our spring and summer fishing. Early spring, slower movements, a lot more subtle, help you put more fish in the boat. Hooked up. Did he eat it?
No, just the same as yours. Just right on it. Well, right behind the jaw, pinning it down to the bottom.
I'm shaking the head a little bit. Kind of move just a little bit here, away from the dam, just a little bit further away, and this guy decided he wanted to bite. Yeah, nice fish. Oh, look at that. Nice sauger. Look at that. Now that is a beautiful Mississippi River sauger. So let me show you a little bit of the difference between the walleye and the sauger. You can see the sauger have a spotted fin on top here. You don't have the typical white spot on the tail either on a sauger, and a little different colorings on them. So this time of year it's a little bit hard to tell, but that's how you can spot a sauger versus a walleye. Now this is a really pretty good sauger. Mississippi River has some really good sized fish in here. Sauger, typically, if you get a sauger in that 22, 23 inch range, that's a pretty good sized fish. But pretty fish here in the Mississippi River. We'll get it back. Now, one tip I learned a couple of years ago is when you're fishing with jigs, you can see it just caught that fish and you see how the jig is hanging really pretty vertical. One of the things I'm really fussy about is before I throw back out is I pull my knot back tight, kind of back towards the hook a little bit, so I get my jig laying a lot more horizontal. It helps on hookups and it helps in presentations back in the water. What do you got?
I don't know. Finally on the board again.
Looks like he's bucking pretty good. I'll come and net for you. He's got you bent, doesn't he?
Yeah. Feels like a halfway decent fish.
He's coming up. Haven't seen him yet. Oh yeah, nice sauger. Super nice sauger. Boy, look at that. Now you switched up baits a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what you put on.
I went for a little bit brighter color. I was using white before, and I got that orange, that ringworm style, paddle tail. A little bit brighter presentation. I was just trying something a little bit different. This has got a little bit better action too on that paddle tail.
Well, and it paid off. Look at that sauger. Boy, is that a beautiful fish, huh? You know, we get a chance to fish saugers in a lot of bodies of water, but you don't see fish that size in a lot of them. So the Mississippi River definitely has some nice fish.
Another beautiful fish.
Very cool.
This one's pretty nice Mississippi walleye.
Boy, that is a good fish. Beautiful. Boy, they're in great shape, aren't they?
Yeah, some nice healthy females here.
Yeah, really nice. Mike, I appreciate you taking us out. We always have a great time when we come here to the Mississippi River. Thank you very much.
Outdoor Bound TV is brought to you by Yakima Bait and Tooth Tamer Rods.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Well, it's a couple months later into the spring. We're here in the month of May and we're a little further north on the Mississippi River today. What we're doing is we're targeting some of these post-spawn walleyes, really some of the big females on some of the drop-offs here in the river. Now instead of pitching jigs and plastics, we're using some heavy weights and floating jigs with crawler harnesses. So let's see if we can put some of these big females in the boat here on the northern part of Lake Pepin.
Hooked up. Feels like a good one. What's that?
Just like that.
I feel like I'm shark fishing. Arms are getting sore.
Doesn't want to come up.
I haven't done this before.
Tight.
Oh my goodness. And the tail's on the wrong side. Oh, here it goes. Oh, good one. Oh,
There you go.
man.
That's what we're looking for.
Lake Pepin walleye. good one. That's awesome.
That's probably your biggest walleye ever,
Heck
huh?
yeah, it is. Took a little bit, but hey, finally got one on the board. I'm warm now.
Look at that fish.
How do I hold this thing?
Put your finger to the
Right? Biggest one. That is awesome. We're gonna let this girl go for someone else to catch. What a beautiful fish. She went off fast. Best walleye so far. That was fun.
Today we're just pulling 3-ways with we're using a 6-ounce dropper and a floating jig head with a half a crawler. Pulling them at half mile an hour or less along current breaks. But these fish are just coming back from their spawn and they're venturing back out into the lake here. So this is just a real subtle imitation of a bait fish or something wounded down there on the bottom, and this is a slow presentation that we're going to catch them on today. So as the year goes on and the water warms up a little bit, I would say in another couple of weeks we could probably start pulling crankbaits, getting a little more reaction bite. But these fish are just getting off that spawn, just getting rested up, and I think it's probably 2 weeks before we can get a crankbait bite going out here. Banging
That's
everybody.
right, yeah, right on, no worries. Tell you what, there is a lot of weight there. And it doesn't want to come up, so that's good news. Just gonna not horse it. And I tell you what, catching these fish in these conditions, you know, it's just, again, not a ton of fish, but just big, beautiful fish. This one just wants to go right back to the bottom.
At least your reel's on the right side.
I tell you what, if you have never been here, you know, we talk about all the time with Mike about how overlooked the Mississippi River really is for a lot of us here in the Midwest. You know, we typically make trips to all over northern Minnesota and Canada and even Lake Erie and so on, but some of the best fishing, whether it be for jumbo perch or walleyes, I mean, right here, Mississippi River. This fish is really bobbing its head. See if I can gain a little more on him here. Just really don't want to horse them, you know, some of these big females, there's a lot of weight there. And she's starting to come up now. I tell you what, Mike. Once again, I don't know. Make sure I get a hold of this girl because she is big. Look at that fish. Incredible Mississippi River walleye. Floating jig, just a half of a night crawler and a floating jig behind a bottom bouncer. And look at the type of walleyes that this place produces. Oh, that's a ton of fun.
Outdoor Bound TV is brought to you by Venom Outdoors and Mountain Dew.
Mike, thanks again for taking us out. Appreciate it a ton. Folks, if you're interested in fishing with Mike McCormick at McCormick's River Guide Service, all of his information is right on the bottom of the screen. Give him a call. You'll get the opportunity at fish like this. And we hope that you'll join us again here next week when we'll bring you more great hunting and fishing action from around the U.S., around Canada, and around the world, right here on Outdoor Bound TV. Look at that fish.
Outdoor Bound TV is brought to you by Suffix and VMC Hooks.
This is feeling more like bottom. 7 stripes. It's going to be a trophy. Is that a new technique to try to get those smaller fish off?
Yeah, yeah. I'm on the board. That's the score.
Yeah. That's
That's right. I didn't like that jig anyways. It takes skill to catch a sucker. At least this wasn't my only fish of the day.
Outdoor Bound TV is brought to you by Rapala and PK Lures.